I never thought a simple shopping trip could unravel the threads of my life, transforming a mundane errand into a high-stakes game. It was a typical Saturday in San Francisco, the kind where the sun spills mellow warmth over the bustling streets. My heart raced with anticipation as I strolled towards the mall, the smell of roasted chestnuts wafting from a nearby vendor, mingling with the sounds of laughter and chatter from families filling the air. As I entered the mall, the bright lights and vibrant displays drew me in like a moth to a flame. I was there to buy a new pair of shoes, something to lift my spirits. My phone buzzed incessantly in my pocket, but I brushed it off. Just a few more minutes in line, I thought, consumed by the thrill of the latest sneaker release. The line crawled forward, inch by inch, as a catchy pop song played through the store speakers, adding a spring to my step. That's when it happened, like a scene from a low-budget thriller. Two shadowy figures emerged from the crowd, their movements unmistakably coordinated as they approached from behind. My mind was clouded. I glanced down at my phone, just as the world around me faded into an unrecognizable blur. Seconds later, everything changed when I finally turned back and realized my credit card was gone. Panic surged through me. "What the hell?" I muttered under my breath, feeling my heart racing. I frantically searched my purse, praying it was simply misplaced. But as the reality set in, anger boiled beneath my skin. How had they done this? Just what kind of scam was orchestrating this chaos? Determined to reclaim my financial freedom, I turned to my tech-savvy best friend, Mia, whose knowledge of the digital world was rivaled only by her tenacity. "We need to find out who did this," I told her, my voice steely with resolve. "I'm not letting them walk away with my money." With Mia at my side and Ethan, a former hacker who had a taste for redemption, we dove into a world of shady dealings and blurred lines. We trailed leads through dark alleys and anonymous forums, uncovering a dizzying web of deceit. Each click of the mouse was accompanied by a pulse of tension, like the moment before a storm unleashes its fury. Just when I thought it couldn't get any more complicated, we hit the jackpot. A sinister figure, known only as the Collector, emerged from our investigation, and with this revelation came a spine-tingling mix of excitement and fear. Who was this shadowy character? But the true twist was yet to come. I realized I had a card to play, a trap of my own. I would pretend to be desperate, to lull them into a false sense of security. Little did they know, I was ready to go loud. I wanted them to think I was meek, just waiting for the right moment to strike back. As we prepared to confront this syndicate, the air felt thick with suspense, electricity buzzing between us. I couldn't help but wonder, would I instigate a showdown that would shake this city to its core? Before we continue with this surprising revelation, a quick alert for you who follow our stories. YouTube has been removing subscriptions lately, so check if you're still subscribed and leave your like to support the channel. Now, back to the crucial moment. I stood in front of the grimy warehouse, our rendezvous point. The peeling paint and shattered windows loomed hauntingly against the backdrop of the San Francisco skyline. Mia was snapping away, every click of her camera documenting our aggressive pursuit of justice. Ethan adjusted the baseball cap pulled low over his eyes, looking like a much younger version of himself, packed with an energy that masked the weight of his past. "Are you ready for this?" I whispered, the tremor in my voice mingling with the crisp, salty air. I knew our plan was risky, but the thrill of what was about to unfold coursed through my veins like fire. "I was born ready," Ethan replied smugly, and for a moment I found solace in his confidence. As we stepped inside, the warehouse was dimly lit, the atmosphere thick with tension. It smelled faintly of mildew and something metallic, an unsettling combination. My heart banged loudly against my ribs. I felt every emotion burning bright: fear, determination, Anticipation. We had reason to believe the collector would meet us tonight, drawn in by the bait I had so carefully laid out. Mia scouted ahead, her nimble figure gliding like a shadow in the dim light. No surveillance, she signaled back to us, and I could see the thrill of the hunt in her eyes. This is the perfect trap. We settled into position, a makeshift setup with a laptop streaming information that would serve as our weapon. The collector wouldn't know he was walking into our fully orchestrated scheme. Then, just as I began to let anxiety creep in, a voice emerged from the darkness, smooth and eerie. "I hear someone's been looking for me." I turned to see him, the collector. His figure was clad in a sleek jacket, a confident smirk plastered across his face as if he had all the cards in hand. My stomach churned, but I forced myself to breathe. "I hear you have something that belongs to me," I said, trying to keep my voice steady while every instinct screamed at me to run. "Oh, darling, what's yours is never just yours. It's a game, and you don't even know the half of it," he replied, his piercing gaze locking onto mine. It took everything in me not to show how badly my insides twisted with fear. I was in the lion's den, and there was no going back. The audacity of the man infuriated me, igniting a flame I wasn't prepared to extinguish. Just as I opened my mouth to respond, Ethan pushed a button on the laptop, and our plan kicked into overdrive. "What's the game, Collector?" he said, as the screen lit up with a series of documents, revealing the operation that had taken me down, along with countless others. The collector's expression shifted. For a brief moment, surprise flickered in his eyes. I seized the moment. "This isn't just about money anymore," I declared fiercely. "This is about justice." "This changes everything," Mia whispered, adrenaline pumping through her. The fight was no longer just mine. We were a team, united against the darkness that threatened to engulf us. The tide had turned, and suddenly I felt powerful. But would that be enough to topple a man like the collector? Would I really succeed where so many others had failed? Before we delve deeper into this pulse-pounding confrontation, remember to hit that like button if you're enjoying this intense ride with me. Every like fuels our story, and your support means everything. Now, let's dive back into the chaos as all hell is about to break loose. The air was electric, crackling with tension as the collector straightened up, his eyes narrowing with curiosity. Or was it danger? Whatever it was, it sent chills racing down my spine. "So, you think you can play the game?" he asked, an amused smirk tracing his lips. Ethan stepped forward, the flickering light from the laptop reflecting off his determined face. "We're not playing. We're ending this." Suddenly, the atmosphere shifted. The collector's mirth vanished as he glared at us. "You have no idea what you're dealing with. This isn't just petty crime. It's a system, a well-oiled machine." His voice curled around the shadows, filling the corners of the musty warehouse. I exchanged glances with Mia and Ethan, my heart pounding so loudly I feared he could hear it. The risk of our confrontation swelled within me, but the thrill of finally having a chance to reclaim my life invigorated my resolve. "You see, there's always a way to break a machine," I replied, my voice steadier than I felt. "Oh, really? And what makes you think you're the one to do it?" he retorted, crossing his arms defiantly, as if he were the puppeteer and we were mere strings. "Because I have something you don't. Knowledge. You've underestimated me, thinking I'd be easy prey. But I've learned the rules, and I'm ready to bend them," I shot back, fueled by a fierce determination I didn't know lurked within. He chuckled darkly, his gaze piercing through me like daggers. "So you think you can expose me? You don't even know the depths to which I sink to maintain control." With a boldness that surprised even myself, I leaned in closer. Control is an illusion. You've taken what isn't yours, and that's where you've made your mistake. Mia adjusted the laptop, displaying images and proof of the collector's illicit operations, stolen data gliding across the screen like a silent scream for justice. What if we show the world what you truly are? Would you still think you're invincible? She said, her fingers dancing above the keys, ready to unleash the truth. His veneer of confidence faltered just for a split second before his intensity returned. A predator sizing up its prey. You're playing a dangerous game, but let's say, I humor you. What's your endgame? Revenge, I answered coldly, my pulse quickening. Revenge doesn't get you far, sweetheart. You need something more, he sneered, a wicked gleam in his eye. You're wrong. All I need is the truth. But as I took a step closer, the realization of how deep this rabbit hole went hit me like a freight train. I could feel the stakes rising dangerously high as I glanced around the dim warehouse, assessing my surroundings and mentally preparing for what lay ahead. Before the collector could respond, the sudden sound of stomping footsteps echoed behind me, sending a shiver down my spine. My heart raced. It was here. The confrontation was escalating. I had expected a battle of wits, but it looked like this would turn physical. We've got company, Mia yelled, her eyes wide with terror and excitement. Stay close, Ethan shouted as I pulled my phone from my pocket, ready to record the unfolding chaos. This was our chance to expose the collector, but every moment felt like a countdown to an explosion. As we braced ourselves, adrenaline surged through me, the thrill of the unexpected pushing me forward. Together, I called, a rallying cry that solidified our bond in that moment. The collector glanced toward the noise, eyes flashing with annoyance and amusement. Looks like your little team is in over their heads, he sneered, but I could sense a hint of panic lurking behind his bravado. The footsteps grew louder, and as the shadows deepened, I felt my options dwindling. But I wouldn't back down. I'd come too far to retreat now. This was my moment to shine, to reveal the ugly truth and turn the tide. But then, as a figure stepped into the light, the true extent of this sordid game unfolded in front of me. I squinted, barely believing my eyes. Who was this new player? What role would they play in this high-stakes showdown? Before we dive deeper into this unfolding drama, if you're enjoying the ride, don't forget to smash that like button. Your support means the world as we face this adrenaline-fueled storm together. Now let's step into the chaos, where everything could change in the blink of an eye. The light flickered, illuminating the figure who stepped from the shadows, and I felt my stomach drop. It was someone I hadn't anticipated, someone from my past, someone whose presence changed everything. It was Rachel, an old friend I hadn't seen in years, her confident stride and piercing eyes suggesting she had been wrapped up in something much darker than I could have imagined. Rachel, I called out, disbelief echoing through the cluttered warehouse. My mind raced. How had she gotten involved with the collector's crew? Oh, you two know each other? The collector's tone was steeped in amusement, as if discovering a personal twist in the drama made his game even more thrilling. Ever the charmer, huh, Sam? Rachel smirked, although I could see the hesitance hovering behind her facade of bravado. Funny seeing you here, she added, her eyes narrowing as she scanned the scene, quickly taking in Mia and Ethan's presence. Not exactly the scenery I thought you would thrive in. I was still trying to wrap my head around Rachel's shocking appearance when the collector interrupted my whirlwind of thoughts. Ah, the plot thickens, he crooned. A reunion in the midst of chaos. How poetic. Don't you dare play games, collector, Rachel snapped, her voice unwavering despite the tension in the room. This isn't a time for theatrics. I felt a rush of gratitude for her sudden loyalty, but it was quickly swallowed by the anxiety bubbling in my chest. How could I trust her when I didn't know what she had gotten herself into? "What are you doing here, Rachel?" I found myself asking, my voice steadier than I felt. Rachel rolled her eyes, and for a moment, a flicker of the friendship we once shared resurfaced. "I could ask you the same thing, but it seems your naive quest for revenge went a bit further than I expected," she retorted, her gaze shifting to the collector. "I didn't sign up for this level of chaos." "But here you are," I shot back, grappling with the whirlwind around us. "What side are you on?" the collector interjected, his voice dripping with amusement as he leaned back against the table, arms crossing with a sense of superiority. "Let's not get ahead of ourselves, dear friends. All I care about is the outcome of this little game. Alliances can be conveniently overlooked when the stakes are high." There was truth in his words that hung heavy in the air. The shifting loyalties felt palpable, and as questions raced through my mind, I suddenly felt trapped, surrounded by shadows that seemed to weave a web of deception. "Rachel, if you're here to back him, then you've made a huge mistake," I warned, desiring clarity amidst the chaos. "You don't know who you're dealing with." "Oh, but you have no idea how much I do," she replied, an unsettling smile forming on her lips. "Working for the collector has its perks, you know." "Perks? You call this a perk?" I asked, anger sparking within me. "You're playing with people's lives. This isn't just a game. It's life or death for some." Her smile faded, replaced by a flicker of uncertainty. "It's complicated, Sam. You need to understand." "No," I interrupted. "You need to understand. This is about more than just you and me." Suddenly, the tension snapped like a taut wire. The rumbling footsteps I had heard before grew closer, echoing ominously throughout the space as if the city outside had come to witness our turmoil. "Enough talk! This isn't story time," the collector barked, his demeanor shifting from playful to menacing, a predator cornered. Mia stepped forward, confidence exuding from her every move. "You're wrong. This is the time for truth. We know you've been stealing identities, ruining lives, and the fallout isn't just you. It's everyone you've harmed." "Very noble," the collector mocked. "But let's see how brave you are when the spotlight's on you." With a snap of his fingers, the atmosphere shifted, suffocatingly tense. The shadows of his henchmen charged toward us, and I felt a pit in my stomach. My heart raced. This fight was spiraling out of control. "Sam, we need to get out of here," Ethan shouted, urgency clear as he pulled Mia back and pushed her behind him. I was about to turn to Rachel, but the words caught in my throat as I saw her gazing directly at the collector, something unreadable flickering in her eyes. "Stop!" she shouted, her voice ringing through the chaos, sharp as glass. "You don't have to do this. We can—" A haunting silence fell as the collector's eyes narrowed, and I braced myself for the inevitable explosion of confrontation. "A betrayal, Rachel? How foolish of you!" he snarled. And just like that, the room morphed into a battleground. The henchmen charged forward, and in an instant, chaos erupted. Ethan threw himself in front of Mia protectively as I instinctively grabbed Rachel's arm, pulling her toward me. "We need to move." "Why are you dragging me into this?" she hissed, wrestling against my grip. "Because I'm not letting you go," I countered fiercely as adrenaline surged through my veins. "You have a choice to make." "This isn't what I wanted," she cried, frustration spilling into the air. Underneath the cacophony of shouts and frantic movement, I realized a choice. In her eyes, I saw a flicker of hope, a wavering battle of loyalty, and if I played it right, I could lead Rachel back to the light. With the first henchman barreling toward us, Ethan and Mia fought valiantly beside us while I assessed our only escape route. "We can slip through that back door." I pointed, adrenaline pushing me forward as I dragged Rachel along, but the collector was relentless. You think you can just leave? You've awakened a beast. I won't let you off that easily, he roared, anger roiling, the air thick with impending doom. As the chaos intensified, I threw everything I had into my escape plan, adrenaline powering my legs as I urged Rachel to follow. It's not too late to make the right choice. Fight for the good, Rachel. She hesitated for just a moment, and in that blink of an eye, I saw the battle raging within her, the path she had chosen and the one that could still be altered. Together, I added, my voice steady yet fierce. And in that moment, I could see her resolve hardening. Before I could react further, Mia and Ethan surged forward, cutting off the henchmen trying to close in on us. Now! Move! In a burst of energy, I pulled Rachel with me, ducking past the chaos, slipping through doors and shadows, our fate dancing on the precipice of safety. But just as hope soared within me, more footsteps echoed ominously, shattering my optimism. "They're regrouping!" Ethan shouted, desperation gripping his voice. "Go!" I yelled, urging everyone forward, feeling that flicker of reckoning, a moment that would change everything for me and the paths we were treading. Just when it seemed all might be lost, Rachel broke free from my grasp and turned to face the collector, a sudden fire igniting in her eyes. "No, I'm done being your pawn," she yelled. My heart raced, torn between the desire to pull her from harm's way and the urge to face the truth head on. Rachel was making a choice, and I hoped against all odds it was the right one. "Rachel, no!" I gripped my heart, praying she wouldn't seal her own fate by standing against the very man who led her astray. But as the room filled with echoes of chaos, it became abundantly clear that this confrontation was far from over. Rachel's eyes locked with the collector, and in that moment, the air crackled with tension, choices hanging precariously in the balance. We had only just scratched the surface of this sinister game, and our fight was set to spill over into places I had never imagined. As I gasped for breath, everything hung in the balance: Rachel's newfound courage, our desperate escape, and the chaos swirling around the collector. And as my heart raced, I couldn't shake the feeling that we were on the cusp of something monumental. Would Rachel manage to break free from the collector's grasp? What lay ahead, beyond this life-altering moment? Before we dive deeper into the thriller of this story, double-check your subscription to support our journey. If the twists keep you on the edge, show us your love. With everything hanging by a thread, join me as we face the unknown madness that awaits us just around the corner. As I caught my breath, the air around us thick with tension, I watched Rachel stand firm against the collector, her expression a mix of defiance and fear. "You don't control me any longer," she declared as she faced him down. The chaos of the warehouse faded around us. All that mattered was this moment and the bravery she had summoned. "Foolish girl," he sneered. "You think loyalty will save you?" But there was something in Rachel's stance that suggested she wasn't just making a statement. She was ready to reclaim her own narrative. My heart raced with admiration for her courage, but doubt crept in quickly. What if she was wrong? "Rachel, get out of here!" I shouted, fearing that my friend would be swallowed by the shadows of the collector's twisted world. "This fight isn't worth it." But she shook her head, the decision already made. "I won't turn back. Not again." The intensity in her eyes rekindled a sense of purpose inside me. We'd all been pawns at some point, but together we could rewrite our destinies. Just as the collector advanced, Mia and Ethan launched into action. "Now's our chance," Ethan yelled, grabbing Rachel's arm. "Sam, let's go." We bolted toward the exit because I knew that facing this villain directly would only end with more pain. "Keep moving," I urged, and together we made one last sprint towards the dim light that flickered in the distance. Suddenly, a loud crash erupted behind us, and in that moment of chaos, Rachel hesitated again. I can't let him get away, she cried, torn between the fight and the forgotten strength of our friendship. Rachel, he's not worth it. Let justice handle him, I shouted, grabbing her arm firmly. We can bring him down by staying alive. With that, we surged through the door, just as the collector's voice echoed behind us. You think you've escaped? This game isn't over yet. Once outside, the cool night air wrapped around us. The adrenaline rushed through my veins like wildfire. We stumbled into the safety of the street, our breaths heavy with exertion and thrill. We did it, I gasped, looking at Ethan and Mia, who were wide-eyed, still reeling from the encounter. But it's not over. He'll come for us. Then we prepare, Mia said, determination igniting in her eyes. We collect the evidence, expose the collector and his empire. There are people affected by this. We can't just run. Rachel nodded, her earlier fear dissipating into resolve. I'm with you. It's time to stop being afraid. The next few days turned into a whirlwind of strategy and collaboration. We gathered every piece of evidence, every name and detail we could find. Late nights turned into early mornings as we meticulously documented the collector's operation, united by our shared mission to bring justice to the countless lives he disrupted. With every step, we chipped away at his fortress of corruption. And as the day approached to reveal the truth, I felt a surge of hope and conviction. Finally, we stood together on a platform before the press, the shadow of the collector looming behind us, threatened and furious. Today, we expose a criminal who operates under the veil of power, I announced, my voice steady and strong. As we shared our story, recounting the pain he inflicted and the lives he ruined, I could see the impact it had. We weren't just fighting for ourselves anymore. We were fighting for everyone he had ever hurt. As the cameras flashed, a wave of empowerment washed over me. We had taken the darkness within his world and turned it into a beacon of hope. After the press conference, as we stepped off the stage, I turned to my friends, my team. Thank you for believing in the fight. We turned our scars into fuel, didn't we? More than that, we turned silence into strength, Rachel replied, a warmth in her eyes that felt like home. We'd faced the chaos together and emerged stronger for it. As we celebrated our victory, I realized I had transformed from a victim into a warrior. And as I looked at the camera for one last message, I knew I had a new story to share, one that would resonate beyond the shadows we once lingered in. If you're inspired by our journey, don't forget to like and subscribe. Join us as we continue to fight for justice in a world where every voice matters. Remember, together, we can reclaim our narratives and change the game. In that moment of triumph, I glanced back toward the heart of San Francisco, knowing the echoes of our struggle would linger in the air, a testament to resilience and the unyielding spirit of justice.